He will see in Bakersfield, San Jose. We'll see in Buffalo, Toledo, Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets. Bobby Kennedy, RFK, is going to try to get cell phones out of schools. And he's got some actually good reasons for it. And I've heard him talk about the dangers of cell phones and what is it called? EMF radiation. That is real. And well, let's listen to what he said.
Cell phones also produce electromagnetic radiation, which has been shown to do neurological damage to kids when it's around them all day, and to cause cellular damage and even cancer. So, a cell phone use and social media use on the cell phone has been directly connected with depression, with
Now, to be fair, some of that depression can be attributed to the shit we're reading on the phone as well.
Yeah, no kidding.
Why is it in the movies radiation always gives you a superpower, but in real life the superpower is the power is the ability to produce a lump? Look, it's Tumor Man, able to go to the refrigerator and remember why. So I guess what he's saying is I should stop using my phone as a pillow? Is that what he's saying?
Poor performance in schools, with suicidal ideation, with substance abuse. And, it's the other countries that have done this. The states that are doing this have found that it is a much healthier environment when kids are not using cell phones in schools.
Mr. Secretary, you've talked
about... And the teachers loved it.
I bet.
Yeah, the parents do too.
Wait, so you're telling me that kids being on the phones at school doesn't help them learn?
I'd like to see the studies, Jimmy.
Yeah, I got to see the studies. I'd like to see them on my phone.
Hold on, I got to look it up on my phone.
But I thought about that since it's the first time I met RFK. He talked about, because he always uses his phone on the speaker, and he didn't carry it in his pocket. And I always have a phone in my back pocket. Well, I stopped doing that. And I got Rick Overton gave me this for my phone, which is like it's supposed to stop the EMF or the whatever it is. So I put it in
You put it in your front pocket?
If I do put it in my pocket, I put it with that facing my ass, so I don't get the colon cancer. And
well, I like to warm my balls with it. Should I stop it?
I wouldn't do that anymore.
Not like too long. Just get them a little toasty.
I mean,
because it's cold. It gets cold down here.
What if I have a microwave burrito in my other pocket and I want it to be steaming hot by the time I pull it out? What am I?
That's a fair question.
I mean, I want to be health conscious, but let's be practical.
Yeah, that actually is a great question.
He's got more to say.
There are many other countries in the world that have banned cell phones in our schools. There's now 19 states with these restrictions.
They never tell. I never ever heard that other countries have banned cell phones in schools. I've never heard that. Why do I have to hear it from RFK? I'm gonna guess because cell phones sponsor the news.
How come my cell phone didn't alert me to that news?
Right? Yeah. Where's yeah?
I didn't get a ping.
Yeah, ping. You have ball cancer.
Hold on, I'm getting a ping. Oh, I gotta go.
There are many other countries in the world that have banned cell phones in our schools. There's now 19 states with these restrictions.
That's almost half the country has restrictions on cell phones in school. I didn't know that either.
I can't believe they didn't have those. You just let kids be on the phone while you're trying to teach. That's a thing they've been doing?
I guess half of them.
Oh, why is everybody stupid?
They had cell
can't believe it.
No kidding. Hey,
I have enough teachers and everyone's on the phone.
It's
not working out.
Wow, kids have the most high-tech distraction device ever created in history right at their hands during school. What could go wrong?
Dude, I used to be so bored at church, I would have to read the Bible for entertainment. Imagine having a phone.
Steph, did they have cell phones when you were in teaching?
Jimmy, they sure did. And it was really, I even had a friend that she would okay, go ahead and put all your cell phones in this case and you'll get it after class. What a hassle. Cell phones are a real big deal. They're texting all the time in class. It's crazy. I see here that a couple of states that have enacted legislation or policies restricting or banning cell phones used in school: Arkansas, California, Florida, Indiana, Louisiana, Minnesota, Ohio, South Carolina, and Virginia. And in California, it's going to go into effect. They're looking like in 2026. That some sort of legislation in California was passed in 2024 that would prohibit cell phone use in classrooms.
Wow.
Big deal.
Governor Glenn Youngkin of Virginia, and I asked him to take me out to one of the schools that was the first one to adopt his executive order, which was the Louisa County High School. And that school is one of the top performing schools in the state. I think it is the top performing school in the state. And I wanted to talk to parents and the students and the teachers about what they felt about the cell phone ban. And I was shocked by how supportive they were, particularly the students. Mm-hmm. I polled students in a bunch of classrooms and in the cafeteria, and only one of them said he didn't like the ban. The other one said that it helped them increase their socialization, that it helped them do better homework. And the parents were very happy because the discipline of not having a cell phone at school also meant that it was easier to teach your kids not to use it when they were driving their car and to do their homework at home without referencing their cell phones all the time.
Not since we had prayer in school could we get kids to bow their head in class than since the cell phone, right?
You know what's going to solve this problem, Jimmy? When we install the phone right in your goddamn skull. That'll fix this right up.
Right? Put a chip right in your brain.
Yeah, that's why we need brain chips now because of this.
So here's what I found this on the interwebs. I'm not giving medical advice, nor am I vouching for the veracity of what she says, but let's listen.
Oh, and I want to show you something in there. Take your iPhone out and go into settings. From settings, scroll down just a little bit and hit general. Then go all the way down to the bottom to legal and regulatory. And when you hit legal and regulatory, you'll see a little menu up top. About 4 down is RF exposure.
Oh my God, there it is.
Frequency radiation. But what they're telling us in that fine print disclaimer is that this device was tested at a distance from the body. So don't put it up to your head. Don't tuck it in your bra or your suit pocket or your shirt pocket or your waistband or your back pocket. We're seeing a doubling and quadrupling of colon and rectal cancers now. Wow. We're seeing increases in breast cancers in both men and women. So the next paragraph in that fine print disclaimer says to use a hands-free option.
That's what it says.
Use speakerphone. So those are some of the long...
Says
I can't wear it in my bra. I can't put it up my ass. Where can I put it?
Where can I put it? I can't put it in my jock. To reduce exposure of RF energy, use a hands-free option, such as the built-in speakerphone, headphones, or other similar accessories. Cases with metal parts may change the RF performance of the device, including its compliance with RF exposure guidelines in a manner that has not been tested or certified.
Wait a minute. It could be reacting with my cock ring?
It could be. Wow.
My solid brass cock ring.
It says the iPhone has been tested and meets applicable limits for radio frequency. Applicable, yes. Specific absorption rate, or SAR, refers to the rate at which the body absorbs radio frequency energy. The limit is 1.6 watts per kilogram in countries that set the limit, averaged over 1 gram of tissue, and 2 watts per kilogram in countries that set the limit, averaged over 10 grams of tissue. During testing, iPhone radios are set to their highest transmission level, and it's evaluated in real time, over time intervals. iPhone is evaluated in positions that stimulate uses against the head with no separation, and when worn or carried against the torso of the body with 5 millimeters separation. So you're supposed to have 5 millimeters separation, which you don't have if you put that in your pocket. That's not, that's not 5 millimeters. How many inches is 5 mil? Let me get this close to my head. Hey. How many inches is 5 millimeters? 0.2 inches. Is that 2 centimeters? I don't know. But anyway, there you go. She's also.
Do you remember 30 years ago this was a thing? They were selling something because some woman had a cell phone shaped tumor in her head.
Yeah.
And it was later debunked that it was caused by cell phones. I remember that. That's a little bit disconcerting.
Did you know that there's a thing about just regular? I saw this on Rogan. I think it's when he had RFK on. They were talking about just regular Wi-Fi can cross the blood-brain barrier. Do you remember
finally.
this? Do you remember that? Let's see what Grok has to say. Grok is often wrong about Wi-Fi signals are low-energy radio frequency. The blood-brain barrier's protective layer. Current scientific evidence suggests that Wi-Fi signals do not cross. Oh, really? However, some animal studies and in vitro experiments have reported subtle effects like increase in BBB permeability, that's blood-brain barrier, but these often use much higher exposure than real-world Wi-Fi scenarios. Oh, really?
Experiencing, including you. What do you think it's doing to us?
I think it degrades your mitochondria. And it opens your blood-brain barrier.
Do you see anything online of how it could open up your blood-brain barrier?
I don't know about how, but
that it does?
I found an article. I was trying to find the validity of it, but it has a statement on here.
Damage the blood-brain barrier. Radio frequency radiation exposure has been shown to affect the permeability of the blood-brain barrier as well as altering the expression of microRNA within the brain, which researchers state could lead to adverse effects such as neurodegenerative disease. Whoa. How come we don't know that?
I wonder why.
Study and said that it's been expanded on researchers in China, and there's a published article here, but I was looking around at the page and
they call it leaky brain.
The findings were followed by suppression, misinformation, and a shutdown of government-funded research in the United States.
It's the same play.
Wow, leaky brain. I wonder why we don't know. Oh, I get they suppressed those studies and they shut down the research. Isn't that interesting?
Debunked.
Debunked, Kurt.
I remember the debunking of it very well. I'm like, it doesn't do that. I remember that so vividly because looking back now, it was odd that the woman would have about cell phone sized tumor right on the side of her head where the cell phone was in contact. That did seem like, but correlation is not causation.
So here's one more video I found.
But yes, when you're carrying a phone that's, placed right here on this area, it's cooking that area. This is why ladies are coming down with illnesses right here. Breast cancer, for example. Then you have lots of men coming down with prostate cancer. Reason being, they're carrying their cell phones around in their pockets and it's cooking their prostate and it's also cooking their privates. Then you get the other people who decide to put their phone right here and then they develop a tumor right on that part of the brain because they carry around a cell phone which is microwaving that area the entire time. And these stats have all been shown. They just don't want to tell anybody because they want to be able to sell people new devices. So if you're taking that phone and you're placing it onto the body and it's close to the body, it's cooking the region that it's in. Some other people have experienced where they take their phone and they put it in their back pocket and they end up with colon cancer. And the reason that they're getting these things is because the technology is cooking their body while it's up against them. So it's important to have distance. And like I said, airplane mode, and turning off the data. You could hardwire your devices, but be aware, these things are pinging. Every notification that you get back and forth from an email to a text to a message to whatever, that's a ping. And this is why they try to give you 10,000 notifications on your phone with emails and apps and notifications and this and that and this. Every time you are pinged, you are microwaved. And it's interesting because when they did the pinging on aphids, which are these little tiny bugs with Wi-Fi, they would jump every single time. So if you wanted to irritate somebody or electrify somebody, you ping them every single time.
Well, so it's not just what you're reading. It's actually the radiation's affecting people's depression.
Yeah. Seems like it. Again, I'm not giving medical advice. I can't speak to the veracity of that. I'm just showing you what some people are saying. And one of those people is the Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Is there any word on
And
if
everything he said-
anti-Semitism could be giving me cancer?
I think so.
My phone is transmitting anti-Semitism at me.
Oy vey, I got a tumor.
You know, there's a Cold War. Back in the Cold War, spies had these, what's it called? Like an EMF pulsar to any effects of electromagnetic radiation being shot at them. It was to like pulse and like protect them from that.
Oh, really?
That's old tech. It's a thing you could actually make. I mean, I don't know how to make that, but it's a thing you can make simply. But that's how long that warfare kind of stuff has been around, since the Cold War.
Hey, if you watch my show, you already know the mainstream news media is not reliable. They never tell you the truth about Russiagate, Ukraine, COVID lockdowns, or anything. That's why I keep partnering with Ground News. Their app and website make it super easy to compare media coverage from all over the world in one place. Like on Trump shifting his stance on Ukraine, if you go to Ground News/JD, you'll see the full coverage on how he's cut them off from intelligence sharing. Even the UK, one of our closest allies, can't pass along any U.S. intel to Ukraine. Ground News gives me instant access to over 300 articles covering it worldwide. They even tell you if each reporting source has a political bias, how reliable the reporting is, and if they're independently owned or corporate controlled. They'll even show you where the news sources are based. It's a super helpful way to see what kind of biases lead to some thinking this is some catastrophic betrayal of Ukraine that weakens NATO, while others call it a strategic realignment that forces Europe to take responsibility for its own security. When it comes to anything Trump does, you know the media is going to twist it to whatever fits their agenda, and if you're not checking multiple sources, you're going to fall into their trap. So I can't recommend enough following the Ukraine war on Ground News and checking your blind spots to find these stories missing from the other side of the political spectrum. You won't get this kind of transparency from mainstream media. Ground News is a lot like this show, actually. They're doing what we're doing. So just go to Ground News/JD or just scan the QR code on the screen. We're offering my viewers 40% off the same plan I use, which gets you unlimited access to all their features. This knocks the price down to just $5 a month. Subscribing not only supports an independent news platform working to make the media more transparent, it also supports this show and everything we do here. Hey, we'll see you in Bakersfield, San Jose. We'll see you in Buffalo, Toledo, Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets.